pretty standard. Running panic attack. Big fan of that.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
So, what I like to do on Upward is try and force out the medic if he's on like that health pack area. Other than that, you're just gonna be spy checking first. Then just try and be on the sack.
This really be a bruh moment.
The fuck?
Doesn't fuck off my RGL.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
So, you know, pretty standard stuff. But we'll see.
Mission begins in 10
Once the
seconds.
game starts, it can be critiqued.
5, 4,
Good.
3, 2, 1.
Grab some sort of buff. Okay. Good ghost. Bad. I wouldn't be using shotgun right there, because especially if you're gonna be spamming it. It doesn't really matter. Good keeping off the flank. Allowing players to make some space. I usually like to run. Oh, holy shit. I usually like to. I'd suggest running detonator
5 minutes left.
and just like spy check, because spy is always gonna stand on that roof right there. No matter what, there's always gonna be spy on that roof right there. Or a lot of times, really. So what I like to do is I like to spy check that roof and then like that rock there right above where the heavy is. And then in the other usual spots. So right now I really haven't done any entry spy checking. That's a little weird. I wouldn't commit that hard unless you have people to back you up or you have a buff or something. So, kind of weird choice. Again, I'd say a spy check. Without like detonator or whatever, you're really kind of limited on your spy check. And standing still. I would just airblast that there. Get out in the open. So you're just gonna stand there and shoot that. Big chance you're gonna get just a headshot. And if your team can't... It seems like your team still hasn't made any sort of effort to attack. Okay, you scared off the spy. That's a good alternative. Just now checking that spot. I'd say check that spot sooner, because the sooner you scare off the spy, the less information he has to feed his team. You don't necessarily have to kill him, but just force him away. Right now, I'm kind of lost of what you're trying to accomplish. I'd say work better with your team on sacks if this is what you're trying to do. Still on Scorcho, that's fine. Okay, escorting your medic. Good. Spy checking. Oh! Oh! Okay, you got it. Triggered his... I'm on fire, but... You don't necessarily have to look up. Again, at this point, I'll kill whoever's there, then run back to the med. As soon as possible. Good. And be checking corners and whatnot. You always gotta be entry spy checking. Unless you have like pretty... Unless you can like entirely certain say that you'll get like some sort of force. That was... Oh, that was just kinda unlucky. Mistiming, whatnot. I'd say entry spy check more.
Attention.
If you're gonna be pushing at least, spy check a little bit around corners.
In the mission.
Because transitioning is the time at which the spies will come in the most often. Pretty good. Nice prediction. Just keep your flames on a spy. And just keep them disorientated. Okay, this is... you don't really have any teammates here. Even if you're done with there, but you weren't pushing tunnel with them. So you're kind of out of position and forced to cross the sight line. Also, that was kind of a weird call from your team, but even if it is a natural push, it's best to just stick with your team. Like, you don't have to die, as long as you're just there. Okay, doing good so far. Okay, good, Spy's dead. I can play more aggressively. Good, forcing him off that bridge. It's always good to kind of make space as Pyro. Because Pyro's kind of shit class, and who fucking cares? I mean, if your medic is like a brain dead moron, then you wouldn't want to die as much. Yeah, really right now, you're just like a spy bitch. Okay, you know the spy died, so you don't have to spy check. At least it was called, so good you're playing with your team. Ask for a flash. I would say your team should have waited for your heavy to get in there. Because you could have fought that heavy with your heavy. And now you're just left at a health disad. And then your team is... I have like a really weird... What? I have no idea what happened. Yeah, just air blast that dude. Play safe, play with it. Heavy. I have no idea what Civ is doing. That's just really unlucky. That whole thing was weird. In that case, I wouldn't push bend. I wouldn't fight bend once that Uber came out, because you know you don't have anyone to fight it with you, and there's a low chance he'll beat the heavy unless he like hasn't revved yet. Because then you're just forced to back up, have low health, and bait your team. And then that third push took longer than it should have. Whatever, okay. Their spy's dead. Don't have to check entry, spy checking. The only reason why a lot of players do this anyways is it's very habitual. And sometimes you're in the zone, you don't realize. You're good, you're calling it out, you're not committing. Just kind of air denying. Let your team get in while not letting anybody in behind. Yeah, that's a little unlucky. I saw you were trying to air blast him backwards. Back through the doorway, and he just hit the hinge, or the frame. And then your demo died, and a lot. I think in that situation is just... the fuck is that kid doing? I'd say in that situation, just play with your mind. You don't have to launch that, because that's what the whole flank is for. Okay, good, you're calling that out. Playing with your med. You're denying space that they're trying to make. I'd say for that, maybe you want to like call for your med to kind of keep the beam on you. Because you can really easily just like corner peek that, and then just totally deny them from getting in. But sometimes timing's a little off, unluckiness, it's a factor that can be taken into consideration. Not much you could have done there. Not really. Okay, here you're just gonna be wanting... Yeah, this whole thing is just you waiting, protecting your team. Unless you have some like go-to plan sacking. You're just kind of fucked into doing this shit for eternity. Pretty standard stuff. This boy just got a lot of blue shit. Okay, you should be in with this. Especially if the Pyro is doing this. Most definitely. Okay, good. Decent cleanup. I wouldn't say push the cart if your medic is alone and you were the solo. I'd say get that Pyro kill, get out, back out through under, and then wait for demo. That was getting a little too greedy. Pushing the cart there wasn't really necessary. I don't think it was backing up. Even if it was, your medic's life is more valuable than a cart moving back like a couple feet. So now you're at a disad here, so you're gonna want to see what you can do just keeping this building safe. You just caught a spy and you what? You know, like, turn up your sound or something, I don't know. There you kinda got lucky and he missed the stab. I'll just be more toned in or keen on. And the spy died, whatever. What did I just say? Try and pay more attention to what areas you're spy checking and be aware of you hearing the spy scream. Guess you're a little late on that Uber, but that was fine. We were able to clean up the heavy and great timing on that spy. He knew just that he was going to come in opposed. Timed that pretty well. Good clean up on the scout. Pretty decent last push right there. Made up for some of your other weird choices, but you know, things will happen. Demo reviews are really to point out all possible mistakes in order that you're aware of them, but there's still going to be some sort of slip-ups here and there. Score shot, it's okay. I wouldn't really run it per se, because you're on kind of a low ground here. Detonator is okay for shotgun or whatnot. Doesn't really matter because it's a throwaway point, and I'm just a fan of shotgun. Okay, here's pretty standard stuff. I'm just waiting for setup, but not. This is kind of risky and weird of a play. I don't know how consistent good that has been for you. Well, I'd say the best thing you can be doing right now is be playing forward on that track. Because look, that heavy just walked in. If you're not forward on like that, where that curvature of that track is, people are just gonna sneak in. And you already had a heavy on playground, so that really should get most of whatever's on playground. And if that doesn't really work, I'd say ask for your medic to play a more passive role down by like the teleporter spot. But overall, I'd say play much more forward. Make sure you have a buff. I don't know. That guy was literally walking backwards. That's fine. You didn't kill anyone. I don't think. Okay, pretty standard. Forward hold. The spy just died. So when the spy dies, I usually just hone in, focus, straightforward. But just look around here and there. So that soldier just came straight from the front. You know, their spy is up. This is fine. is okay. It's only your scout and spy died. You're doing fine. I'd say maybe spy check cliffside, not focus the card as much. Because now you just took a bunch of damage. Took away heals, and now they're walking in. Got the point. Okay, good. That was kind of pretty good timing on you. I don't know if it's luckiness or just decent. Okay, when you're in this position that they're this far forward, you don't have a sentry, don't be dying for anything. Just keep spam off as much as you can. Play huge. Nice auto air blast cheap. Yeah, just watch for players behind. If anyone's gonna flank. Yeah, you're just a protective role right now. That was pretty good. I don't know if that was called out. Okay, that was not a lot you could do because you'd be crossing the sight line. So it's good you didn't like commit too heavily to killing that spy. All you can really do is call it out. Because if you chase that spy and die, you're kind of fucking over your team. Because this third point is very important. So I'd say that was pretty good. Pretty good decision right there. Okay, here you're just gonna be like... okay. You're just gonna be like checking the shit house. Also you wanna check around the bend and like that little maze where it like loops around. Where like the dispensers, other dispenser spot can be put. I mean, never really want to peek this. Okay. Good. Decent, now back up, back up. A little too much commitment. Yeah, it's way too much commitment. Once you get those players in a disposition, you really don't want to be dying. Because now you see Tom Serra walks in, their heavy walks in, and their team is absolutely obliterated. I mean, not a lot you can do there besides just listen for. Because when demos are shooting spawn doors, if they don't shoot the ground and instead shoot the door, it makes like a thunk sound. Not a lot you could do. If you're trying to get to upper, I'd say play closer to your mid because you just in upper doesn't really do a lot alone because you're not too great of a class compared to others. I have no idea what Tom Servo is doing. Do not fight that. He has the health back. Okay, good here from Ed. Get some health. Push. There's a sniper watching, so... not a lot you can do. You're kind of fucked here. I need to turn around. I saw all those players just sitting there. Okay, this is so Uber. I'd say just push them back. Kill what other classes you can. Not too bad actually. That was pretty good. You're shooting the non-Uber players, forcing them to either flash or let them die. You didn't commit too hard. But I'd say you could pull out even sooner. Because you're really close to just throwing that and dying. Yeah, playing this corner is very powerful. Remember. You can just stuff players who are trying to walk up the stairs there. Good, pretty standard stuff, I really like to run back runner on last, simply because of how close range it is. And like the kind of flanks you can do. Good, you're just stuffing them in this corner, playing that corner just right, perfect. And now they're just forced to I don't know why you guys used. We could have had a huge. Ada would not have walked over there, seeing as you guys don't have uber damage. But yeah, don't. I don't know what your ammo is, but in like you don't have to spot check as heavily, as long as you're like looking around, spot checking here and there. You don't be too liberally spot checking. That was kind of just unlucky. You know, sometimes that'll happen. Not much CPD. So far, not too bad. Yeah, that's why I like to use detonator. Yeah, if you're gonna go into that window, actually, when you're using the detonator, don't shoot the ground, but hold right click and shoot behind you like a rocket jump. Because you get more horizontal, and it's much easier to get in. In that situation, I'd either, if I miss that jump, I'm not gonna go back to the stairs. I'm gonna either go back to spawn, try again, or go through lower. Because now you're just having the same sort of situation over and over. So if that doesn't work, then I'd say just walk through lower. Especially right now, your medic has a massive advantage, uber advantage, and you want to be there to stop whatever they're trying to do. Also on that ledge, if you go higher than the actual window, you'll still you know that that's really bad part on your team for not being aware that there's a random soldier behind. So you kind of got screwed over because nobody called it out, or either you just weren't paying attention too much. Yeah, since your team got forced. So right now I'd see about trying to get behind and pick off some other players, forcing them to run more players onto the cart. Okay, that was okay. I'd say yeah, just jump on the cart right now. Whatever you can. That mini though, so the one thing you could have done there is wait for spawners and play with spawners, or play with your other players, increase firepower. Not a lot you can do as the Pyro class, it's kinda shit. But, you know, after all these demo reviews, I'll whip up like a sort of conclusion.
5, 4, 3,
Fuck.
2, 1.
Okay, Panic Tech, decent. I also like running Detonator, Shotgun. Good. Watching that. Good rotating over. Checking on the right. Checking main. Now check house side. If you go most of that right, you approached mid, and then you deflected spam, watch for bombers, then you checked flank a little bit. If the spy was crossing there, then you checked main. If you're gonna be committing to that sort of entry spy check, you're gonna want to go all the way, be checking house, because he's gonna be there very soon, and you want to be switching between these spots very quickly. Your team did get the point, so this is still good. Good. Spy check. Okay, at this point, your team is kind of getting just like pummeled, and you're not balancing your spy checking with looking forward. So your team ends up taking a lot of unnecessary damage and forcing them off, even though the Uber is about the same. A part of being Pyro's area denial, especially if you're part of the pocket, you get a lot of heals. You should get at least buffs. Okay, good. You should be in with your team, denying them. Keep this. That was a little bit unlucky, because that was fine. Because you were denying their Uber to keep your medic alive. And if you die for that, that's fine. So I'd say overall that play was a good decision. I would have done that. So in this situation in which you would die for stuffing an Uber would be if keeping your med alive, or the chance of them, your medic dying without you dying, is high. But if your medic is gonna live even if you don't stuff, then you don't have to die for it. I call this out, and I'd say maybe air blast them, look down at the ground and air blast. Your med did kinda die. So, I mean, it's even. Doesn't matter too much. It's good that you're meeting up your med, but there are spawners. It doesn't really matter. I'd say always be like, have an idea where the soldier and the spy are, if they're alive or if they're dead. But that's really the main threat. So you know the soldier's dead. So just be watching spy. What I find is that most spies will decloak from this house into you guys, or from me. That's what I've seen as the most common. Okay, good, you're not chasing, since your team is already fighting. You're gonna want to meet up. Okay, your medic is there. Also like to spy check the cliff. See some machine life is good. Not bad. Okay, just Pyro off. Good. Return back to your medic, protect him. Good, good. Okay, this. We don't really have to be like sweating so hard to get capped that point. Because you already have a lot of players on that point. It's not entirely your job. Okay, good. You're just fucking over their Uber, not staying, not taking flashes. Make sure to be spy checking. Okay, great spy check. Now look forward, the spy is dead. You killed the spy, look forward. See if they're chasing, they killed your man. Your goal is protect the map, for the most part. Especially Ubers that are traded, people are going to want to chase, get an advantage. Now they have a 53% advantage. This is going to be difficult. Okay. Nice walls. Pretty standard. I wouldn't be chasing that far for a spy check. Only if you feel pretty safe, that you know the spy isn't near you. The spy is dead. Play forward. Nice spam. Take heals. Walk forward. Take heals. Walk forward. You're not walking forward. Okay, good. You're walking forward. Stuff the Uber. Don't die for it though, because you already have bad numbers. Because now your team is just now coming in, and you kind of died early in the fight, so your number advantage is really off askew, and we end up capping. So in that situation, I'd say stuff the Uber, but don't die for it. Air blast like 2 times, then run away, and then come in for the post. Because even after a couple stuffs, unless you have a team with you, it's especially since they can wrap around. Okay, good. You're checking right. Okay, you're checking cliff. Now check main. Check main, please. This boy is not. Okay. It's okay. Okay, good. You're sticking with your medic. It's better than last time. One thing is, I like to not be like inside my medic, because in that situation you guys have the same, you guys will end up having the same sort of knowledge, since you're both looking at in the same position, looking at the same sort of things. I like to play a little bit a bit away so I can see the bigger picture of the medic's vulnerabilities. But good. Nice protection. Yeah, just kind of try and salvage that. I don't know what you could have done. That was a fine play, I'd say. Any of the players you could air blast. But he kind of got juggled, so not a lot to do. Okay, let's do some. Just spawned. Okay, they're rotating. They're playing with the combo, so they don't die instantly. Dying there is fine, because it takes distraction off the crits, and therefore your team can get this point really easily, or should get it easily. However, they are gonna have Uber, so I don't know how long you are gonna hold this point for. Good. Don't chase this spy. Gonna check cliff. Okay, that was weird. This kind of like didn't chase the spy, but then they did chasing him. Cause he could have just come from cliff, and then when you're on China, kill someone. At least distracts your team. Okay, that was. I don't know how much it said there. It was pretty normal. Holding the cliff here. Just be also looking up at this guy. I mean, the soldier is dead, but I like to keep my eyes. Not be looking so flat down. Also be checking cliff entrance. It's a little weird across the sight line, because your team is already using him. You want to be there when they're there. See, now this is when you should have been earlier. You should have been in like that. The more players you have, the more firepower, and as long as you're with your team, you can spy check. Okay, now is when you don't want to be spy checking. You have the point. Not much to be looking at. I'll be checking main, cliff, whatnot. I mean, you can rotate around, but be on heightened alert. What's going on? This is a weird Uber. Okay, you're stuffing it. Keep stuffing it. Okay, now you don't need to die. You need to get out. Because your medic is out. So you're good. You don't have to push this point. Just get out, protect your med. Play lower cliff. Even possibly back up since you have no heavy. Okay, your team should wait for your scout. Oh, this is good, so that was good. Now go back to spy check and call out those traps. I hope you did. I hope you called out those traps. Okay, now spy check mode. Checking. Also, one thing I like to do is when you have the point, what I like to do is I like to play a little forward on the point, kind of see if I can catch out a spy. You don't have to do it; it's not necessary. It's much safer to just check. A good deny, very good air blast. I'd say once you've already air blast them out of like deadly range, you could just go back to protecting your mid. Once the threat is no longer a threat, you can just back on. Okay, this is just... Not a lot of this is on you. A lot of it is team coordination, team play. How your team cohesion, whatnot. Good. Go check the right. This soldier's doing nothing. Soldier already got like denied. His bomb got denied. Your medic was in main. There's no way the soldier's gonna kill him. So should be switch checking main. Okay. You can edge this. But with your team, don't die for it. But if your team is forward right now, you should be fighting. But at this point, there's not a lot you can do. Okay, almost got the spy. What I like to do is I like to kind of like flail, cover the most area when trying to spy check. A lot of times you'll be very close hitting the spy. Okay, that your timing is a little off. I'm being aware that they do. They know they've had advantage. So playing aware of what's gonna happen really close. Yeah, in that case you would chase a spy. That was fine. You're just kind of taking unnecessary damage. Not a lot you can do, except for just like kind of switch up your movement or your positioning. Don't be in like exactly in the pocket. Or else, when demos no spam angles, they can just spam the pocket and consistently hit people. So what I like to do is I kind of like to play a little bit, not directly in pocket, but like a little bit back down the valley and be looking towards the point, looking up at the... In this situation, if there's a bomber, you're kind of like closed in and you don't able to really see a bomber coming in.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, good. You're playing with your team, playing with the push, but you're not taking it either. Okay, this is where you stuff. Okay, good. Stuff the medic. No. Okay, good. Great claps. Great. Good chase this medic. Okay, good. I have no idea why he went back to kill you. Wow, that was perfect collapse. You did that very well. Because you played with your team, and you knew that their Uber was really shit and their positioning was shit, so you just kind of waltzed in there and did what you wanted to, because there's not a lot they could have done, especially with being disorientated by air blast. Part on you, part on your heavy for not so much clip. A lot of spam. Also, people don't pressure the demo. The Pyro's job is much harder than people think. Not a lot you can do there. I'd say stepping back, being able to see the spam instead of having to like react very quickly to it can help. So like you see the spam for longer, they don't have to react as fast. You have more time to air blast within reason. So when you're stuffed, okay, this is good. I wouldn't chase. Okay, good. Stuff this for a bit and then look back to this way. I guess it's fine. Spy did nothing, but You don't want to rotate between that. If you know you're going to be able to live, then I would rotate. But if you know that their Uber still has a chance of killing you, I wouldn't necessarily. Great job, great denial. You're playing lower cliff, looking up at the sky, making sure that you're aware what's going on. Normal stuff. By checking whatnot.
Mission ends in 60 seconds.
Okay, yeah. No idea what the version. But you go in. Oh, you don't have ammo. Okay, go in. Stuff. Look down and air above. You do not know how to die for that. Because now you're bleeding numbers and they're gonna cut. Or they're gonna take the point and keep it. So, in those situations where you're both Ubering, you're just gonna want to throw off their Uber, not die for it. The only reason why you would die for an Uber is because they're Ubering and you don't have Uber. Or they're Ubering and you to kill your med. And your med doesn't have Uber yet. That was a decent cleanup, but in the end, that's just a medic. And it's better to kill off the damage dealing classes first. Pick off the medic, because the medic's easiest to kill. Especially in situations where there's not a lot of players left. And like, let's say there's an Engineer soldier and you're fighting the medic instead of killing the Engineer soldier. So, oh, I got a medic pick, but the medic barely had any Uber. And no one really else had buffs, so it didn't make a difference if he died or not. So I guess in the end, I'd say a lot of it, like, you've played Advanced, so you have a pretty good grasp of like how to play Pyro, whatnot. I say just a lot of like little iron out things. One thing was like you made the right decisions in this some cases, but knowing when to die for stuffing Ubers and knowing when to not die. Some Pyros don't know this, some do, but the only reason why you would die if stuffing the Uber is if your medic is so close to them that if you don't stuff it, he'll die and you'll lose a big advantage. And the reason that you would not die is if your medic is already has a high chance of living without you stuffing, then the whole point of you stuffing at that point is not to save your med, but to like stop them from getting a good foothold against your team. Also, in even Uber situations, you're just gonna want to stuff them enough so they don't get enough ground, and your Uber in the end will be slightly better than them. And your spy checking could use some work. Knowing when to spy check at what times. Also some game sense issues I noticed, but that comes with time. That's like one thing you could. Also talking to your team, getting their input, and evaluating it can also help a lot. Other than that, a lot of plays were very well done.